guys, it's Rachel, and I'm doing today's daily soap. We are looking at 1 Kings 9 and 10, and in these two chapters we see a lot about King Solomon's wealth, how he is acquiring wealth, and what he has chosen to do with that. For instance, he's literally receiving tons of gold at a time. People bring him apes and like exotic birds and anything that you can think of. He probably had or had a way to get that. He was a very wealthy guy. And in chapter 10, he is paid a visit from the Queen of Sheba. And she comes with skepticism, and she is confused and concerned about who this guy is and why things are going so well for him. And she is looking for a flaw. So she comes with a list of questions, and she kind of drills him, looking for a flaw. And through this conversation, she realizes that there is just something different about him, and that she's not going to find what she came there looking for. And as a result of this entire conversation, she has an encounter with God. So through meeting Solomon, she met God. And I think that is incredibly important for us to look at and kind of understand why that is. The first thing to know is that King Solomon had influence. And a lot of times we think about influence as a result of resources. The more resources you have, the more influence you have, or the more power you have, the more influence you have. King Solomon had a lot of resources, therefore likely a lot of influence. But it's not as simple as that. I remember being in kids' church. I was probably 8 years old, and they played a song during the response time that says, "If you can use anything, Lord, you can use me. Take my hands, Lord, and my feet. Touch my heart and speak through me." And I remember during that response time having an understanding of, I have influence. 8-year-old Rachel understood that despite all of the material things that I may have lacked, that I still had influence. And I think there's 3 things that we need to consider when we think about influence. The first is, I think, the obvious, the financial side of it. And then there is our time and our voice. Those are the 3 biggest resources we have when we think about influence. King Solomon had everything on the financial side, and I think that one's probably the easiest to understand, so I'm going to look at the other 2. Our time is one of our biggest resources. We can either run our schedule or have our schedule run our lives. We don't have to be volunteering at every cause that there is to volunteer at, but we have to be intentional with how we spend our time, and who we spend our time with. And when we are doing that well, we have an incredible amount of influence with the people in those circles. And then the last one is our voice. We need to be speaking life and truth and wisdom and encouragement and honesty, which is wisdom, but our voice is incredibly powerful with the people in our circles that we are in relationship with. And a lot of us, maybe not any of us, but a lot of people out there think that posting strong opinions on Facebook is the way to have influence, and I am confident, 100% sure, that influence comes from real relationships. So the things we say need to be with the people that know our hearts and know us well. That is where we have influence. And then the last piece of our voice being influential is us not using our voice, is when we sit down and when we listen. We listen to our friends who are brokenhearted or overwhelmed or stressed out or in the midst of a tragedy. And we listen when our friends need to celebrate and when things are exciting, and when our community is heartbroken. We have so many opportunities to be influential through the way that we listen. So that is my encouragement for you guys this week. Look at how you have influence through your resources, through your schedule, and through your voice. The goal is building the kingdom of God. Obviously, the goal isn't just influence. We want to see the kingdom of God built, and the way to do that is to be using our resources, being our finances, our time, and our voice. So that's my encouragement for you guys today. Do something that matters, say something important, listen to things that are important.